Welcome to Unstoppable at Craig, where we pull back the curtain on what makes healthy workplace cultures click and what happens when people are empowered to expand the boundaries of what is possible. We'll explore the perspectives of employees and leaders who have carte blanche to speak their truths, tell their stories, and unlock uncommon ways of approaching challenges. I am Dr. Jandel Allen-Davis, CEO and President of Craig Hospital, a world-renowned rehabilitation hospital that exclusively specializes in the neurorehabilitation and research of patients with spinal cord and brain injury. Join me as we learn from people who love what they do and what happens when fear doesn't stifle innovation. I have so been looking forward to the opportunity to do this particular segment of Unstoppable at Craig. And really the theme is about the importance of play at work. You know, just that whole idea of what does mirth and fun do in the workplace. And in fact, research has shown that play boosts productivity, it brings higher creativity, and it creates a stronger sense of hope and humor. And heaven knows we have a lot of both of those here at Craig. When my son was a tiny guy, he's now 33, but he went to Montessori, and they called play work there. So I love that. I always remember this whole notion of play as work or play is work. Jolene Godfrey said, all work and no play doesn't just make Jack and Jill dull. It kills the potential of discovery, mastery, and openness to change and flexibility, and it hinders innovation and invention. Can't think of more true words that have been spoken in a long, long time. And so we're going to spend some time talking to a couple of my colleagues at work, Tom Carr, who is the director of our recreational or therapeutic recreation department, and Joe Fangman, who's a supervisor in physical therapy. And these are also not just two great colleagues, but even as we were trying to get geared up to do this, we've been laughing since we started. And that's not unusual here at Craig. It's sort of how we rock and roll here. Let's, though, start with this whole idea of we work hard and play hard. What does work hard and play hard mean for you when you come into work for the day?
You know, I think work hard, play hard for me means they should be indistinguishable. You know, if you come to work and you work hard and you have fun, the thing we do for 8.5 hours plus a day isn't a job. It becomes just a living. It becomes what you love to do. And so I think that's, for me, what work hard, play hard means. Blend them together, you know, have fun with your staff, have fun with everybody, have fun with your patients. And I think it makes the day go so much faster. Yeah. So for me, that's what work hard, play hard means. We got a heavy job. We got a lot of things we want to do. We're dealing with a lot. We're helping our patients deal with a lot. But how do we have fun doing that? And that's what Craig does.
Thanks, Joe. I love that. And I would add the same thing. And we talk a lot everywhere in society today about balance between work and life. And I really do think here at Craig, it is much more integration. I just came from lunch with my staff in the therapeutic recreation department. I had to excuse myself a little early. It was just, hilarity, just fun, laughing, sharing, just pieces of our lives and then sharing those with patients. And in that way, it's just a very unique and fun environment.
Yeah, I just love that and I love what you said back to the Montessori thing, that work is play, that we don't really distinguish them, that it is most beautifully represented at work through the integration of the two and not viewing them as separate. And also, it's interesting, you use the phrase work and life balance. I think work is life, right? It's all part of it. And I think that idea of not using or viewing how we show up at work, somehow they're different than we show up at home or anywhere else. Absolutely. It's the beauty of this place. And it's what folks notice when they come in is your staff, the teams are always so happy. It's like, because work and play go together, and we do work and play hard. Well, with that, by way of just some sort of introductory sorts of ways of how we think about it, how about some examples of some of the things that we do here? And one that comes to mind right away is we are some competitive folk. So what does that look like through the spirit of fun?
I think it comes, to friendly competition. We're competitive folks, but it's friendly. Never trying to put anybody down, but friendly competitions. I think that helps with our patients. It helps with our staff. In PT, we do minute to win it games. So if you've ever watched Guy Farino does minute to win it, I'll come up with minute to win it games, and we have an interdepartmental competition. And it's funny to watch staff laugh, for leaders to make fools of themselves a little bit when we're having these competitions, and just to let loose and have fun. We do it usually twice a year. We'll do it around the holidays, and then we'll do it a little OT month and PT month. The fourth floor PTs take on the fourth floor OTs.
There we
go.
A
little bragging rights.
There we go.
But it's friendly competition, but everyone loves it.
How about you, Tom?
Well, first I'll have to share, and you guys can't see obviously, but I brought a game with me today for this, because play it's important both in the therapeutic recreation field and in all aspects of what we do here at Craig, as Joe was just talking about, both with staff to staff, with patients, staff with families. It really is in everything we do. So I was getting prepared to come up here and getting my water ready and all the rest of it. And I was like, well, I have to be able to bring a game. There's got to be a game. So if you could see in front of us, there's a tiny little thumb basketball game that we have here. And prior to starting, we gave it a shot. And right now, just so everyone knows, Joe and I are tied at 1, and Jandel is currently at 0. But there's plenty of time here. We will come back to this.
It'll still be 0 by the end of this.
Second.
Because it's like getting that right English on it. And I kind of really don't have the right English for sure.
That's for sure.
What about like wheelchair races? Tell me about those.
I think this is where it comes with patients. So patients like to have fun too, friendly competitions. In Wheeler's class that happens on Tuesdays and Thursdays, the patients compete against themselves. All of our patients have different abilities. So when we do some competitions, it's about, are you getting better each week? And they love to say, hey, what did I get on the 23-meter push last week? And then at the end of the hour, they race me. A little line drill where you push forward and then you push back, push forward, push back. I do in a wheelie. If they beat me, I buy them something in the gift shop for $2.50 or less. First time I did it, I said, I'll buy you something in the gift shop. They wanted sweatshirts and sweatpants. I was going broke. So I limited it to $2.50. And then if they beat me, they race one of our peer mentors. The best part of that is they get to sign a T-shirt. Anybody that's ever beat me since 2016 signs a T-shirt that hangs by my desk. When they come back for their reeval, they ask, is that T-shirt still here? And they want to see it. And it's just cool. And it's cool for me to look at and pull it out. The next person that signs it, they can look back and say, oh my gosh, this person beat you back in 2016. And I'm here at 2023, last year.
That's so cool.
This year. So that's exciting.
Where my office is, as you both know, I sit on the first floor and get this opportunity to look out the window. Not often because it's crazy around here. But when I can look out and be distracted just a bit by what's going on outside of that therapeutic recreation area. And you guys are trying new equipment. Talk about that, because that looks fun. There are days I want to sneak out, and I have on occasion.
Anytime, and that's absolutely true. Both from the experiential aspect of it, of having therapists and people who work here at Craig able to speak what it is like to try one of these activities or pieces of equipment. But we as a staff, like Joe was saying, a couple times a year, try to get off site, spend some time together, both doing some work and planning, as well as then doing those things that are either patients ask or experience or what is just popular. I made a list of just over the last couple of years, some of the things we've done as a staff. Because take me, for example, I'm not a fly fisher. I had never done it. Our patients are very interested in that. So going out one day, learning from experts on how to do that allows you to then think about adapting that in a much different way. Add that golf, hiking, biking. We went up and did hand-controlled kart racing up in Denver and things, and just really a chance. Again, learning for us, yes, super fun, just to be a group together, goofy, and things that we're not, at least speaking for myself, that I am not good at, but really just getting a greater appreciation for and just having some fun. It was a great shared experience, all of them.
And not only, it seems like saying that not only are you having fun, but it gives you a different and deeper sense of empathy, right?
Sure.
Another way, though, that we work hard and play hard is I've never seen a place have more fun with some of the big events, whether it's around the holidays or others. And talk a little bit about Halloween, which is like everybody, you say to them, Halloween at Craig. And you just see smiles and head nods. You've never seen anything like it.
You can say this holiday is a big deal at X place, but Halloween at Craig is
like nothing you've ever seen, folks.
You start planning for it pretty much the day after the year before by taking a little idea from somebody else or talking with a patient about an idea they had, and it takes 11 months to get ready for that again. And I also love, on top of that is fun, but then working and watching our patients come up with ideas and costumes of their own and their families. It's just impossible. It's such a visual, all aspects of it, from a haunted house downstairs to a themed lunch that we have to, the winners at the end of the day. It's fabulous.
It's really a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And I never have seen it. I remember my first year here, and on my schedule it said Halloween, and it was started at 1:00 and it ended at 3:00. And I walked around with my jaw dropped, but smiling at the same time. When I got back to my office, I went, what was that? It was that crazy.
I always think, I wonder what happens to the patient and family that admits that day.
Well, I've had one. I had one where I had to do a meet and greet first day, all dressed up. And hey, welcome to Craig. Sorry you need to be here. We're going to take really good care with you, and you're here on the best day.
That's right.
What were you dressed as that day?
That day, I think we were Toy Story. So I was Buzz Lightyear that day. So
that's good.
I'm not taking the costume off. Welcome to Craig. That's where you're here. We're a family. We have fun. So yeah, not taking the costume off.
In a couple of days, this is going to make a lot of sense.
It'll make a lot of sense once you get down to the gym and get to meet us.
That's
right. You'll know what we're doing.
Well, more importantly, interestingly, we're going to come back to that in terms of what that sets as the tone for our patients to know we have that much fun. And then we should talk just a tiny bit about trike race, because we also do, we get into the whole physical part of competition too.
The trike races. So I don't know how to describe it other than what it is. It evolved very organically of one day having these giant big wheels for people of a certain age who know what a big wheel is. And we had a relatively new entrance to our hospital with a circle drive. And just as play organically happens, it was like, I don't know who looked at who first and was like, well, I bet you I can go around that faster than you can. And so just kind of played around the first day, and somebody, wasn't me, was like, this has got staff races written all over it. And next thing you know, it was trike races with, I think maybe we had 4 groups who got together over lunch one year, we're probably getting close to 10 years ago.
Wow.
Raced around and had a little fun and laughed. And I think last year we had 26 teams sign up for trike races from, again, all around the hospital. It is one of my joys of the absolute year. It is pure laughter and fun, and a golden trike, of course, currently living downstairs in the basement of the East Building here with our
DME clinic.
DME clinic, that's right.
And their excitement of winning and dethroning a certain PT department.
Yeah, it's a certain PT department.
It's not all about the trike. It's also about the bragging rights amongst each other. Hey, where's the trike today? Buffy in the Peak, she would leave it up there and hung it up where everybody could see it as you walked in. It was just...
And then there was the year, speaking of fun and capers and keeping it interesting, that I decided I'm stealing the trike. So we got together and we had the great trike caper, and you helped us, Tom.
Poorly, yes. I've learned that.
But
showing up to work in the morning being like, I didn't steal it last night. I'll just go take it now. This also speaks to our staff because they were there early.
They actually watched him take it.
I was like, guys, I'm going to have to borrow this.
And then we had a scavenger hunt to get it back. And when they figured out the PT4 team that always seems to win,
always were up there,
came down, and when they got to the final place, there we were, and served them lunch. So we did do a nice thing, but we totally stole the trike. And it's fun I got to tell you, as a CEO, who I just think that fun and joy and just it creates such a relaxing environment. The fact that I said, I want to steal the trike. And I was brand new. I said, I think you can do that here. And we can. So it just speaks volumes about what a wonderful culture that's been created over many years. Well, I think an important part of that culture is this second session. And actually, I toured somebody just today, and there were a couple of times I used one of my other favorite phrases about how we best integrate lots of things. But in this case, we're talking about this notion of creativity and fun and play. And that is, we slip the spinach into the lasagna, whether it's how we use our adaptive kitchens upstairs, from you're going to go to the store and you are going to make your way through the store and buy the ingredients to prepare a meal and then come back and do it. That's literally and figuratively slipping therapy or spinach into lasagna, or our peak, or even these trike races. And so this is really about how and what is the importance of fun and play in terms of the therapeutic process. So would just love to have you guys talk a little bit about the role of play in terms of therapy.
I think for me, it says PT on my badge, but at my heart, I've always told Tom and his staff this, I'm a rec therapist. Because that's where the real things happen. The magic happens outside these walls of Craig. So how do we get that spinach mixed in the lasagna? So for me to work on transfers on the mat, it's great. I love to see progress there. But when I can carry that over with a patient to getting onto a hand cycle, it becomes real. Mm-hmm. And that's rehabilitation has to be real for them to be vested. And so when I can do that with the rec therapist and do a co-treat, and then to see a smile on that patient's face that I just got on a bike, and 4 weeks ago, I didn't think I'd be able to do anything. So I think that's how you slip it in and you have fun doing it.
And I talk about this a lot with when patients come to Craig for the first time, is oftentimes come from another facility. And this is all new. And really what they've heard before they arrive here at Craig are all the things that they cannot do or that are going to be difficult or different. And when they arrive at Craig, we flip that on its head. And whether that's to start asking the question like Joe was saying is, we're doing therapy for what reason? You know, you're a parent. What are you doing with your children? What is that thing? What do you guys want to do together? Exploring that and finding out play, activity, whatever it might be, and then making sure that we're doing it.
How does play here differ from what you've seen other places? And what do you think its impact on clinical outcomes? And clinical meaning both mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah, I think for me, I've been blessed 2 jobs, and I've been able to play both of them. And when I was looking for a new job in 2011, that's why I came to Craig. You know, when I talk to colleagues around the country in different organizations I'm part of, it's sometimes play is missing. You know, rec therapy is one of those ventures that does not get funded by insurance. So a lot of facilities, that's one of the first things that's cut. And as a PT, like I just said, outside these walls is where therapy happens. So how do we do that if we don't have rec therapy? That would take a lot more on me to get out of these walls. And I don't have that expertise. So sometimes that's where, again, having that rec therapy staff and be able to collaborate with them, that's another part that I think makes Craig great.
I've been very fortunate as well to work in a very few places. The place I came to before Craig was also a wonderful community organization working with kind of would be the next step for our patients when they left here, Craig. So play was integral there, but have also worked places more on the commercial side of things, even commercial recreation side of things, where that was our product and we quite honestly least participated in it. It was a thing, not a part of what we did, if that makes sense. And that's the difference at Craig. The fun is, it's not what we do alone, but it is so built into every aspect of what we do that it's kind of inseparable that way.
Well, the last thing I really wanted to talk about as we think about this, and it really is at the heart of it, why this podcast started around Unstoppable at Craig, was really about great cultures do have and are reliant on strong leadership at all the levels that leadership happens in a place. And it certainly is no different here. And it does start at the top. I mean, just we as leaders have to have the willingness to be vulnerable, but also not feel as if, oh, well, that's for somebody else. That's for them to do. We've provided this opportunity for our staff, have fun with it, but that we get into it as well. I just love for you to talk about the connection between play and vulnerability and how it shows up in your leadership.
Yeah, play in my leadership. Let me clarify something I said earlier. When I said that we, in terms of therapeutic recreation, have won the Halloween the last couple of years, I did not say I. I'm happy to be a part of this activity and by no means came up with the idea or honestly the part that makes it work. Because that's the staff. They're not only fun, creative, innovative, all of those things. I don't have to be the one who comes up with the good ideas. I would have never come up with that idea. If you can't laugh at yourself, you just can't take yourself too seriously. And that allows, I think, other staff to take the lead and be creative and get it right and teach me something too. And I'm totally fine with that, even if it means I'm a giraffe in a video game at Halloween.
It was really cute. And it was fun to shoot at you. I totally missed.
Appreciate that.
Can you talk about a time where you felt challenged in play, something that was set up for work that, really did force you to be vulnerable and have to, and what happened and what was the outcome?
I think vulnerable and challenge is even the minute of winning games. Are they going to enjoy this? I'm the one that says, are the staff going to have fun at this? And then when you put all the work into it, spend Saturdays watching YouTube and trying to figure out what these little competitions are you're going to do. And then you bring it in and people come to you afterwards and say, that was so much fun. I think that's vulnerability.
Yeah.
I think the beauty too of Craig is we're given the space to have fun. From you, Jandel, knowing that you'll be involved in the trike races to my director, the permission's there to have fun. And I think that's another difference that makes Craig great. I've been blessed as a PT to have 2 great jobs where I have fun, but I've had other jobs where fun was not encouraged. It was get the job done, work while you're there, then go play hard later. Here we blend the 2 together. We work hard and we play hard, and you can blend them together and get things done and have fun.
I love that the way you answer the question about the vulnerability. There's the, making a fool of myself. Although, seriously, I just want you guys to know I do hold back in the trike races because it would really look bad for the CEO to win. It's only fair. It's only fair to let you all win. I could smoke them all. But you got to just sort of hold back. But I love the way you answered the question because what you said was, and I feel that same way when we've got a big thing coming up this week that my fingerprints are all over. And I go, oh, they're going to hate it or they're going to like it. But we have to risk even bringing that in. And nothing feels better than watching us do it and watch people engage in it and going, oh, they really liked it. It wasn't a dumb idea. Because I think I have about 99 dumb ones, that is, ideas a day. So I love the way you answered it in terms of vulnerability. It's not just about me being on a trike and spinning out around that circle, which is totally fun, by the way.
Tricky turn 3, everybody. Watch out.
Gosh, that's a killer turn. So what about you?
Yeah, for sure. And again, and not to think that every day is trike races at Craig.
It isn't.
But with that said, that to me is also, that was a staff driven, that was not me. I didn't know that the trikes were coming. I'll absolutely jump in and race. That sounds great to me, but it was not my idea. It was, hey, I got this friend who wants to show us these things. The next thing you know, we're riding around in the parking lot. That's just taking a chance of being like, I don't know. Let's try it. I don't know that.
But it builds, what's it build, this sort of sense of bringing play in this way?
It builds culture. To me, that's the number one word, is it brings culture to Craig. And that's a culture that we've had for years, and you hear about stories from way back when, some of the things you can't do anymore because we have to be safe. And thank goodness we can't do them sometimes. But it's been a culture that's been here for as long as,
much longer than all of us
sitting here. So
absolutely.
I think that's what that brings. That's what play brings. Is it continues that culture, and how do we maintain that culture? And then I think we started this out about burnout. I think this play helps reduce burnout of our staff. We have tough jobs and days sometimes get long, but if we integrate a little bit of play, I think the risk of burnout is diminished some. And so then just listening to our staff then too, listening to them, like you said, Tom, they'll come up and they'll tell you what's fun. And we then, as leaders, encourage them to have some fun to keep that day going. So I think that's the secret.
Sometimes I will very actively plan an activity or something for staff or a patient session or an outing very actively. And other times it's just making the space for it to happen organically. Maybe having the tools and stuff, bringing a silly game to a podcast like I did today, or just having those things available. But knowing that we live in a structured world and people who are busy and therapy's busy and things are busy and we have to get certain things done. And that's what life seems like and feels like sometimes. So to build in time to slow down for a second and just be like, okay, we're going to be in this moment. What are we going to do? It's that creativity. That's the joy that I see when it's not a laid out activity with laid out rules. That's why I love some of the wheeler classes and things like that, because the games and stuff that are played there are not necessarily wheelchair basketball or a specific. It's just something that's developed and is organic and is creative. And we're trying to accomplish some stuff, sure. But at the same time, we just have some time together. What are we going to do? And play comes out of that naturally in my experience.
I think, leadership at Craig doesn't control. I think that's the difference too. I mean, they allow us some autonomy. I schedule my own patients. I plan my own days for my patients. The same thing comes to play. We give our staff and patients room to play and plan their own play without someone telling us from top down. And it's all voluntary. You don't have to participate in the trike race. You don't have to participate in Halloween. But because it's so fun, most folks want to participate. So I think that's what we do. We allow some autonomy to kind of grow and let people not be stagnant, that you have to get A, B, C done. You can pause between B and C and say, hey, let's break this up a little bit. It's April Fool's. Let's pull a prank on OT. It's more OT pulling the pranks on us. But we retaliate.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. It's given that time. It's healthy competition. Yeah, not retaliation. It's healthy competition.
Healthy retaliation.
Healthy retaliation when they set the timers in the office to go off every 5 minutes all day long.
And I want you all to know that it's almost like, do you really want to say this out loud? Yeah, I do. It may be more distractions. You understand that, right, Jandel? Yes, I do. But I love that you all engage me. And I think that's another thing that I really would, to whoever takes the time to listen to this as leaders. And by great leaders, we're not just talking CEOs. We're talking about the two of you for sure. And the countless other supervisors and managers and directors and VPs that are out there. But that I get to be, and that's the way I think about it, part of the fun makes work just as great for me. And the really cool thing that you said on that point, Joe, is this idea that we actually, you don't have this top-down hierarchical, buttoned-up sort of leadership style or management style here. And Daniel Pink, who wrote a great book on innovation and creativity called A Whole New Mind, one of my favorite books, said that control leads to compliance and autonomy leads to engagement. We've talked about this through the lens of the special work that happens here, but all of what you've talked about can happen in any workplace, every workplace. But what do you think are some of the guidelines or things you'd say to other leaders, whether in healthcare or out of healthcare, that are really universals if you're going to do this kind of work? And I shouldn't say if, I should say when, because I hope more people just let their hair down and just bring that whole person who you are outside of work into work. It's amazing how it transforms cultures, to use the word you use. But what are some of the things you would say to leaders?
Well, and again, on a very basic level, and just speaking for myself, is you can't take yourself too seriously. You cannot. If you do, that's what you will get reflected back at you. So, if you have a serious front and this is business and let's get it done, that's what you'll see from the people who work with and for you, if that's how you lead. So, yeah, I would say if you don't take yourself too seriously and allow yourself to make a mistake and do something silly, and then folks will know that that's okay and that you can do those things and should do those things as well. That's probably my first one. Someone I worked for prior to coming to Craig used to do was engage all the way as early as the hiring process. And I remember she used to, when we would interview people, much like this silly basketball game I have in front of us here, would leave during an interview, on the table during an interview, different article cards or things like that, just to see if an applicant would engage with them, would pick them up and put the puzzle together or play with something while they were answering questions. Never addressed in any way other than just, here's things that are out there. That tells you a lot about folks too, of being like, yeah, I don't have to be so buttoned up that I can't play with this thing that's right there. And honestly, it might be a nice distraction and it might actually relax a little bit. I'm more myself. And it was very intentional why she did that, and really taught it. You knew someone was going to fit right away, just by how they played during that very, very early, meeting. So,
yeah, I think, lead by example. Like Tom said, don't be afraid to try yourself and have some fun yourself. Because if your staff see you do that, they'll follow you. They'll follow that example you set, that, hey, we can have some fun at work. So I think lead by example, come up with ideas, and then ask for their ideas. What can we do to have fun at work? And just give them permission to give you those ideas. So I think that's important.
I love it when staff come, they're like, okay. And I have many who, ready?
It starts with okay.
As long as it doesn't start with, I'm sorry. No, it's like, usually starts with, okay, I have this idea. And usually it's, I have this crazy idea. And we've at least grown to the point where we don't say crazy anymore. It's just an idea. Mm-hmm. And goes back to what we started this discussion with, is if the answer is it's safe and it can be successful, chances are we're going to say yes to that crazy may be sounding idea, and let's go. Let's see what happens.
It's really amazing about what you all said. I was thinking, I wonder what people who listen to this will think. For those for whom work is just suffocating, just know that there are really cool places out there that are, that allow this, and not only allow it, but enable it and expect it. You may think we've laughed a whole lot in this hour, that we don't have a serious side. But as I said, play is work. And we've got the outcomes from a patient perspective, from an employee satisfaction perspective, from a quality, a financial, you name it, a safety perspective, to show that this is an important ingredient. It's not the only ingredient. Every day is not a beautiful day for our patients. Every day is not necessarily a beautiful day for us. But for the most part, the right alchemy of a great mission, purpose-driven people who are given the autonomy to do what is right within the skill set that they have and bring that to bear, not just in the care of the patients, but for those of us as leaders in the care of those we serve, our team members. It's unique and it's special, and it's not impossible to do. Well, thank you all for the time today. This was just too much fun.
Thank you.
So we just got to spend some time with Tom Carr and Joe Fangman, two leaders at Craig, talking about the importance of play. And it was in listening to them that I realized that these three pillars of working hard and playing hard, which is all about integrating and recognizing the value of humor and fun and play as part of great work environments that are transferable. Those are all skills that are transferable and applicable to all of our workplaces and can show up more. All of that is wrapped up in this bow called It Starts at the Top. You know, how we leverage play, both in our personal lives and how we bring it into the workplace and what we enable, what we unleash from the perspective of creativity and innovation, what showing our own vulnerability by, in the case of me, I'll do anything around here. Us as leaders showing up and being part of the team that way and being willing to be vulnerable, less buttoned up, have fun, enables and allows others to bring their whole selves into work as well. And so I really do encourage those of you who might be listening to consider the importance of workplaces that have a healthy dose of mirth, humor, play, and fun as part of the very same coin that does have the sort of serious part of things. And in fact, even in those, at least the way this leader, myself, how I choose to lead, even when we're talking about those topics, trust me, there's plenty of laughter at different points, both used in a disarming way, but typically in a way that just allows everyone to relax and not take either themselves so seriously, the work so seriously. Astonishingly, both then get the serious attention that they need. So thank you for listening.